All right. So I wanted to take a few minutes and do a quick hit review of something that I found really, really useful lately. I wanted to create some content on my LinkedIn page and realized that I was just posting chunks of text and it wasn't super engaging. It wasn't very interesting and I wasn't getting much engagement at all. So what I wanted to do was beef that up a little bit and show some visuals. And so what I'm going to walk through is just how I did that and how quick and easy it was for me to do it. And it can be quick and easy for you to do it as well. So the example I'm going to use is this post that I threw up recently, which is just, hey, here's something I'm working on, wanted to get some feedback from the community, and wanted to dress it up with some imagery that as a user was scrolling down through their feed might make them kind of stop and say, oh, this looks interesting. Let's see what this is about. And so the use case here is I was working on LOL Instant Messenger, which is one of my side projects, and I've been using the OpenAI API to back that and have the chatbot functionality. But I'm interested in checking out some of the other LLMs that are available. I wanted to check with the community and kind of see what you guys are up to. What are you using? Are there any other really cool APIs that I could leverage? So I wanted to ask the question of compared to OpenAI, what are some other good ones? Is Microsoft any good? What about Google? What about Meta? And so on. And to illustrate that, I came up with the idea of all right, well, let's make them like comic book superheroes, which you can kind of see on the screen. So that's the finished product. And what I wanted was this ability to as you're scrolling through, you see the image, and then it's this carousel, right? So you can flip through the slides. If you're on a phone, you can just swipe through. But basically, a couple of slides to pique the user's interest, and then a call to action that says, hey, weigh in down here in the comments section and tell me what you think, right? So that's what we're going to design, and I'm just going to show you how I walked through that really, really quickly, and how you can do it too. So the first thing is when I'm thinking about an image like this, what kind of tooling do I want to use? What am I going to use as the basis for that initial image? And so I knew that I wanted these superheroes that would represent different LLMs. And what could that look like? And so I wanted to try some of the different image generation tools that are out there. I jumped around to quite a few. I'll skip kind of ahead pretty quickly to the punchline. But I went to Leonardo and I said, give me some comic book superheroes that represent these different companies. And the result is kind of I don't know, it's a little bit hit or miss. These they do look like comic book superheroes, but it's not really the style I was going for. It didn't quite resonate with what I was trying to achieve, and some of these are kind of the eyes are kind of messed up, and it didn't look right. All right, so we'll skip ahead from Leonardo. What about ideogram? It's another good one. This actually is some interesting imagery. It's not the style I was looking for, and I played with a couple of different prompts, couldn't quite get it. I kind of like this one, but it doesn't do what I'm trying to get to. It doesn't. It doesn't really feed the style that I'm looking for. And so this is where I was jumping around to the different tools and just trying to figure out which one sort of natively matches that style that I'm trying to get to, so that I can be really quick with refining the prompts. So this is one of the techniques that you can use is you can jump around to some different tools really, really quickly and start to dial in on what it is that you're trying to do. Meta, another great example. Here's their, what do they call it? Imagine. Image generation tool. There's an obvious style here. It doesn't quite match the stylized look that I was going for. Again, really interesting. Looks kind of nice, but some of these are a little too close. This is clearly based on a Superman logo, and this is clearly Captain America. And I was really looking for something more generic. And I tried to do that with the prompting, but just couldn't quite get through to some of these. So then I got to Microsoft Copilot, and this is where I started to hit some success. And I'm going to go back through the transcript of the chats that I had just to illustrate the point here. And you'll notice some of the images are missing and stuff like that in the history. But I wanted to walk through just what this looks like. So I basically started with, give me a stylized comic book image with these different companies and, just kind of make the each of the characters match the branding of the target company. And there were some kind of mixed results. I didn't quite get I didn't quite get what I was going for, but I started to tweak the prompts a little bit. Hey, let's try it again. Let's not put any text in the image, which you can see was a little bit hit or miss. Again, I asked for no text. I clearly got text. I was asking for the logos for like OpenAI and Anthropic, to appear on the costumes for these superheroes. And you can see like it just didn't really work. Like there's one that looks exactly like Superman. It's not what I want. These guys back here actually have kind of, it sort of looks like Windows, like kind of a Microsoft sort of logo. So heading in the right direction, but trying to get this thing to actually put the logos that I was looking for. There's the Apple logo. Didn't ask for that. Trying to get the right logos on these costumes was really, really challenging. So kind of had a hard time with that. And this is where we get into the iterative design process, right? This is where I say, okay, I like where you're going with this, but we're not quite there. Let me start over. I started over a couple of times and started just new conversation threads to sort of scrap what I was doing. Let's try this again. Let's just start with generic superheroes and see if we can tailor it from there. And I got like 4 examples of, like what looks like Superman, basic Superman-based characters. So again, a whole bunch of let's start over kind of stuff. But the thing I want to emphasize with this is I'm scrolling through these pretty quickly, and it might look like there was a lot of back and forth. But this entire process took about 20 minutes, and I did this on my phone. Which is really a key point as well. I was sitting with my son, who was 3 years old and was falling asleep at the time. He was taking his sweet time to do it. So I was sitting in the corner of the room, just kind of waiting and hanging out with him. Rather than being stuck at my desk, I was able to do this on my phone and just kind of do this sort of prompt engineering to get down to the result that I wanted. And that just made it super simple. So again, more and more of this like back and forth of, hey, this hero is going to be called ChatGPT. I'm trying to like telegraph exactly what I want. So lots more back and forth of almost not quite what I'm looking for. I even gave it the OpenAI logo, like the ChatGPT logo that you're used to seeing. I said, hey, use this, put it on the costume for the superhero. And you can actually see behind the scenes, this didn't happen in real time. I only saw this in the transcript, the historic transcript that we're looking at right now. You can actually see where the model will unpack and say, okay, I'm going to look at this image and I'm going to describe what it is. Right? So you can see like a black and white intricate logo, interlocking lines. So it's describing the image that it sees internally to try and get the image generator then to spit out something that resembles that. As it turns out, it didn't go so well. You can see the logos are nowhere close. The style is starting to drift from what I wanted. And then the whole conversation starts to devolve. Like I started getting base 64 encodings back, from the bot and all this kind of stuff. So again, like it was another point of like, okay, now we're going to stop. We're going to restart the conversation. And then this is where we finally started to dial in. I was still trying to get it to put that OpenAI logo on the costume. Couldn't get it. You can see that like it's now got the right idea of like what the logo kind of sort of looks like, but it's clearly not using the image that I pasted in to the conversation. It's trying to do its own thing. So what I said finally is I said, let's back way out. What I want is just the heroes with blank spots on their chests. And I'm going to come back in later and I'm going to add the logos. And what you'll see here is actually, now we're getting really, really close to the end state that I showed you at the beginning, where we've got these heroes and they don't quite have the open spots that I was going for just yet, but like here's one. You can see this one right here has that circle where I could paste in a logo. And that's finally what I was deciding I wanted to do. And so this started to look a lot more like what I was going for. So I took one more shot at it and said, let me just refine this a little bit. Some of these have logos that I don't want. Give me one more shot. And what's interesting when you review the history of a transcript like this, you don't always get the same images back, and sometimes it will generate them in real time. So what you see here is actually generated new content. So it's not exactly what I ended up with, but this is pretty close. This is almost exactly what I ended up going with, which is a panel of, I asked for 4, and I actually got 6 heroes, they do have the open spots on their costumes, and so that was exactly what I wanted to try and take forward. So okay, great. Now we've got we've got our superheroes here. We've got the image that we want to use as the basis. Now where do we go from here, right? And so now that we've got that initial image, this is the part where now we're going to turn the page. We're going to flip over to Canva. If you haven't used Canva, this thing's really awesome. Again, I did this on my phone. You can also obviously use it on your laptop or whatever, but the initial design, I was able to just kind of like pick and pack and get it down to what I wanted. So I brought in the image that I generated from over there in Microsoft Copilot. I went out onto the web and found logos for each of these each of these providers that I wanted to highlight. So I just went out and searched for, like an SVG or transparent PNG for each one of these logos. Really super easy to find. Copied and pasted them into Canva and just resized and dropped them where I wanted them. And so what I ended up with then is this image of the 6 superheroes, each one representing, one of the 6 LLMs that I decided to bring into scope. And it looks kind of cool, but it's not done yet. So the last piece of this is, okay, great. I've got this sort of image. I know that I want to bring it into LinkedIn. And like I said at the beginning, I want to have that carousel, like kind of swipe to the next slide sort of capability, right? So how am I going to do that? Canva makes it super easy. This is not a commercial for Canva, I swear, but it makes it super easy. It's all you do is you come into Canva, you say, hey, I want to create a new, I'll do it here in real time. Let's say I want to create a new design and I want to do a LinkedIn carousel, right? So LinkedIn carousel, and it'll bring you into like a new tab with a blank presentation, but it'll also bring in these templates, and it doesn't take a very sharp eye to see exactly where I pulled mine from. It's this one right here. This is one of the templates that you can use for a carousel, and you can just click on the thing and say apply all 4 pages. And so you're starting with this sort of base content of 4 slides. I ended up using 3. And so you can kind of go through here and say, well, I'm going to rip this text out. I'm going to reword this. I'm going to take away one of the slides. And then critically, for me, I want to bring in my visual content, right? So here's where I pasted in the image of the 6 superheroes. I used the tools within Canva to just cut the thing in half. I just cropped it. I duplicated it, made 2 copies of it, cropped one so you only see the top, cropped the other so you only see the bottom, put those on 2 different pages of this carousel thing. So now I've got, a little bit of, like I said, engaging content to keep the user interested and want to page through and see what's next. And then the last one is that call to action. Hey, what do you think? Write something down there. With the little arrow pointing down and all that. Again, this was all part of the template. I brought in my images, wrote my own text, and so now I've got this visualization, or this visual that I want to attach to my LinkedIn post. So how do I get it over there? And by the way, guys, I didn't know any of this coming in. I used the same tools that are available to all of us. I asked ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot, hey, I want to create a LinkedIn carousel. What do I do? Where do I go? I'm in Canva. What button do I click? A bunch of that kind of stuff. So when you're done here, it's super simple to get this thing out to LinkedIn. The best way that I found to do it, supposedly you can share it directly to LinkedIn. I couldn't get that working. The easiest thing that I found was share, download, and you just go to PDF, right? You can do file types, different file types. The PDF standard will do the trick. You hit the download button. This will spit out a 3-page PDF. And then you can take that and bring it straight into to LinkedIn. So I guess just to complete the loop and demonstrate that there's nothing up my sleeve, let me flip over to the LinkedIn tab here. And let's say I want to start a post. All right, so you come in here. If you want to do the carousel thing like I did, don't add an image. Instead, you want to add a document, because remember, we exported this thing as a PDF. And when you do that, you can go out and choose the file. And let's go and grab the one that I was actually working on, just to kind of so you can see the full thing. Type in a description. I'm not going to do that right now. But once you've done that, now you'll see, rendered in LinkedIn exactly what the thing's going to look like. You can see that it's the 3 pages of the PDF are appearing as 3 slides on a carousel. You can click through next, next, next. And so when you're happy with that, you just say, yep, done. And then you can, type in your content up here, put your little hashtags or whatever you're into, but make sure to put in something that's like kind of a call to action. Hey, I want to engage in a conversation with the community, add a comment, jump into the thread, tell me what you think, where did I make mistakes, that kind of stuff. It's always really good to try and drive engagement that way. And so that's it. I mean, from here, obviously, I'm not going to post this, my lorem ipsum or anything like that, but that's it. That's the entire process from start to finish, from the idea of, hey, I want to make superheroes or whatever your idea for a visual might be. Use those image generator models to help you sort of visualize that content. Once you've got it, bring it into a tool that works for you. Now, I'm really happy with Canva so far. I'm also brand new to Canva, so I'm learning my way around. There may be better tools or alternatives that are out there. Again, if you have an opinion on that, don't hesitate to drop a comment right below this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you use, and what kinds of tools we could all benefit from. I like anything that's free, anything that I don't have to pay for. Some of these tools are really, really advanced. They've all got paid add-ons and different versions that you can do. You can subscribe to higher tiers if that makes sense to you. But if it doesn't, if you're like me and you just want to get something out the door, this is a really clean and simple way to do it. So yeah, for me, for this one anyway, it was Microsoft Copilot with the Bing Image Creator in Canva. Marry all that together, and you get yourself a beautiful, I think, beautiful LinkedIn content visual. So I hope that's useful. Again, drop a comment. Let me know if you're using any of this stuff. If it makes sense, if there's something you want me to expand on, definitely can do that. And let me know what you're using. What are you doing? What kinds of tools are useful for you? I'd really like to get that kind of feedback and start a dialogue. So don't hesitate. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch, and happy coding and happy LinkedIning. Take care all.